They said I was dead, but I was standing at my own funeral, watching who was pretending to cry. And that's when I realized someone there wanted me gone. I wasn't supposed to be there. Not at the funeral. Not anywhere. Because according to everyone else, I was already dead. The news spread fast. A tragic accident, they said. Sudden, unexpected, unavoidable. That's what they told people. That's what they told my family. And somehow, that's what the world believed. But the truth? I was still breathing. Still thinking. Still watching. Just not where anyone could see me. It started 3 days ago. The night everything changed. I remember it clearly. Too clearly. The sound of rain against the window. The silence in the house. And the feeling that something wasn't right. I'd been getting calls. Unknown numbers. No voice on the other side. Just silence. At first I ignored it. Told myself it was nothing. A mistake. A glitch. But then, the messages started. Short. Strange. And impossible to understand. You shouldn't be here. That was the first one. I laughed when I saw it. Thought it was a joke. Or someone trying to scare me. But the second message was different. They know. My chest tightened. I didn't know who they were. Or what they knew. But something about it felt real. Too real. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept checking my phone. Waiting. Watching. But nothing came. Just silence again. Until the next morning. That's when everything started to fall apart. I was supposed to meet someone. Someone important. Someone who said they had answers. We agreed on a place. Quiet. Out of the way. Safe. At least, that's what I thought. I got there early. Sat down. Waited. Minutes passed. Then I saw them. Walking toward me. Slow. Careful. Like they weren't sure they should be there. I stood up. My heart racing. Finally, answers. But before they could speak, everything went dark. A sound. Sharp. Close. And then, nothing. When I opened my eyes again, the world had already decided I was dead. And the worst part? Someone made sure it stayed that way. I wasn't supposed to wake up. At least, that's what they planned. When I opened my eyes, everything felt wrong. The air, the silence, the way my body barely responded. I couldn't move. Not fully. Not yet. But I could hear voices. Distant. Muffled. Like they were coming from another world. Is she gone? A pause. Then another voice. Yes. Calm. Certain. Too certain. Something inside me shut down at that moment. Not my body. My trust. Because that voice, I recognized it. I knew that voice, but I couldn't place it. Not yet. Everything faded again. Darkness. Time passed. I don't know how long. Minutes. Hours. Maybe longer. Until I woke up again. This time, I could move. Barely. Slowly. Like my body was fighting to come back. I was alone. The room was empty. Cold. Temporary. Like I wasn't meant to stay there long. And that's when I saw it. A tag attached to my wrist. My name. And one word. Printed clearly beneath it. Deceased. I stared at it. Not shocked. Not panicked. Just aware. Because now I understood. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't confusion. This was planned. Someone didn't just want me gone. They wanted the world to believe I was gone. I forced myself up. Every movement hurt. Every breath felt heavy. But I kept going. Because staying there meant disappearing forever. I found a way out. Not clean. Not easy. But enough. And when I stepped outside, the world looked the same. Cars. People. Noise. Everything normal. Except for one thing. Me. Because according to everyone else, I didn't exist anymore. That's when I made a decision. I wouldn't go home. I wouldn't call anyone. Not yet. Because if someone did this, they would be watching. Waiting. Making sure I stayed dead. So instead, I did something else. Something crazy. Something dangerous. I went to my funeral. Not as myself. But as someone no one would recognize. And when I got there, I saw them. All of them. Crying. Standing. Mourning. For me. But not all tears are real. And not all grief is honest. Because as I stood there, hidden in plain sight, I saw something. Something small. But impossible to ignore. Someone wasn't sad. They were watching. Carefully. Like they were waiting to see if I would show up. And in that moment, I knew my death wasn't just a lie. It was a test. I stood there, invisible, forgotten, dead. At least, that's what they believed. The funeral was quiet. Too quiet. Soft music, whispers, controlled sadness. Everything felt rehearsed, like a performance. Not grief, a show. I watched them, one by one. Faces I knew, people who once mattered, crying, hugging, saying things like, "She didn't deserve this. I can't believe she's gone." Words, empty words, because something felt off. Not everyone was grieving. And then, I saw them, standing near the back, away from the crowd, not crying, not talking, just watching, still, focused, like they weren't there to mourn, but to confirm something. My chest tightened, because I recognized them. But again, I couldn't place it. Not yet. Something about their presence felt wrong, too calm, too aware. I moved closer. Slow, careful, blending in with the others, head down, face hidden. No one looked at me twice. Why would they? I was no one, just another stranger, paying respects. But they noticed. The moment I got closer, their eyes shifted. Not directly at me, but enough to feel it. They knew, not who I was, but that something wasn't right. I stopped, didn't go any closer, because instinct was screaming at me to be careful. Then something else caught my attention. A voice, familiar, painfully familiar. I turned slightly, and there he was, standing near the coffin, looking down, silent, still. My breath almost stopped, because out of everyone there, I trusted him the most. And yet, something about him felt different. He wasn't crying. He wasn't broken. He was thinking, deep, focused, like he was trying to figure something out. Or worse, like he already knew. I watched him carefully. Every movement, every expression. And then, it happened. Just for a second, his eyes shifted. Not to the coffin, not to the people, but toward the back, toward that person, the one who wasn't grieving. Their eyes met. And in that moment, everything inside me went cold, because that wasn't coincidence. That was recognition. Silent, hidden, but real. They knew each other. And suddenly, everything started to connect. The messages, the warning, the accident, my death. This funeral, it wasn't random. It wasn't unlucky. It was planned. And now, I was standing in the middle of it, alive, watching the people who thought I wasn't. And the most dangerous part? They were closer to the truth than I was, because I still didn't know who I could trust. But I was about to find out, very soon. I should have left. That was the smart thing to do. Walk away, disappear, stay alive. But I didn't, because the truth was right in front of me, and I was too close to turn back now. I stayed, blending in, listening, watching. Every movement felt louder now. Every second, more dangerous, because something had changed. That look between them, it wasn't accidental. It was a signal, and I had just seen it, which meant one thing. I was no longer safe, not even here. The ceremony continued. People stepped forward, said their goodbyes, shared memories, cried, but I didn't hear any of it, because my focus was locked on them, the one near the coffin, and the one in the back, connected, silent, watching, waiting. Then suddenly, the one in the back moved, slow, deliberate, walking toward the exit, without a word, without looking back. I felt it instantly. That pull, that instinct. Follow. I hesitated, just for a second. Then I moved, careful, keeping distance, making sure not to be seen. They walked outside. The air was colder, quieter, no more voices, no more crowd, just space and tension. I stayed behind a column, watching, waiting. Then they stopped, right in the middle of the empty walkway, still, silent, like they were expecting something, or someone. My heart started racing, because deep down, I knew this wasn't random. This was part of it. And then, a second figure appeared, from the other side. Him, the one I trusted, the one standing by my coffin just minutes ago. He walked toward them. No hesitation, no confusion, like he had done this before. They stood face to face, close, too close. I leaned in slightly, trying to hear, trying to understand, but their voices were low, careful, controlled. And then, I heard it, just one sentence. Quiet, but enough. She's gone. My entire body froze. Not because of the words, but because of the tone. There was no sadness, no regret, just confirmation. Like a job had been completed. Like I was nothing more than a task. I stepped back slowly, heart pounding, mind racing, because now there was no doubt. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't coincidence. They knew. They planned it. And worst of all, they believed it worked. I turned to leave, quietly, carefully, but just as I moved, a voice behind me. Hey. My blood ran cold. I stopped. Slowly, too slowly, because I knew if I turned around, everything could end, right there. Hey. That voice was close, too close. My entire body froze. Every instinct screamed the same thing. Don't turn around, because if I did, everything would end, right there. I forced myself to breathe. Slow, controlled, like nothing was wrong, like I wasn't supposed to be dead. Excuse me, the voice said again. Closer this time. I had no choice. Running would expose me. Staying still would make it worse. So I turned. Slowly, carefully, and there he was, standing right behind me. One of them. Not the one from the back. Not the one near the coffin. Someone else, but still part of it. I could feel it. Do I know you? He asked. His eyes scanned my face, searching, analyzing, trying to connect something. That didn't make sense. My heart was pounding. But my face stayed calm. No, I said softly. Just one word. Simple, neutral, safe. He didn't answer immediately. That was the worst part. The silence. The way he kept looking at me, like something about me felt familiar, like something wasn't right. You look like someone, he said. My chest tightened. Of course I did. I looked like me. The person he thought was dead. I gave a small smile. Polite, distant. I get that a lot, I replied. Light, unbothered, like it meant nothing. He studied me for one more second. Then he nodded. Sorry, he said, and stepped aside. Just like that. But I didn't move. Not immediately, because something felt wrong. Too easy. Too quick. Like he wasn't done. I walked past him. Slow, steady. Every step felt heavy, like I was walking through something invisible. A line I shouldn't cross. And then I felt it. That shift, that change in the air, the moment you realize you're being watched. I didn't turn around. Not this time, but I didn't need to. I already knew. He was still looking at me. Still thinking. Still trying to remember. And that meant one thing. I couldn't stay here anymore. I needed distance. Time. A place to think. Because now, this wasn't just about finding the truth. It was about staying alive. I reached the end of the walkway. Almost out. Almost safe. But then, I heard it. A whisper. Not behind me. Not near me. But close enough to freeze my blood. That's her. Everything inside me stopped. Because that voice wasn't guessing. It knew. That's her. I didn't think. I didn't hesitate. I walked faster. Not running. Not yet. Because running would confirm everything. But inside, everything was screaming. They know. They know. They know. My heartbeat was loud. Too loud, like it could expose me. I reached the street. Cars passing. People walking. Normal life. But nothing felt normal anymore. Because now, I wasn't hiding from suspicion. I was hiding from certainty. I kept moving. Blending into the crowd. Head down. Face calm. But my eyes were watching everything. Reflections. Windows. Shadows. Looking for them. And then, I saw it. A car. Dark. Parked across the street. Engine running. Too still. Too patient. Like it had been waiting. For me. I didn't stop. I didn't react. I just kept walking. But now, I changed direction. Turned into a smaller street. Less crowded. Less visible. More dangerous. But necessary, because I needed to know. Were they following me? Or was I imagining it? I walked faster. Turned again. Then again. A pattern. Random. Unpredictable. At least, that's what I hoped. Then I checked. A reflection in a store window, and my heart dropped. They were there. Not close, but not far enough. Two figures. Keeping distance. Matching my pace. Watching. Always watching. So this was it. No more guessing. No more doubt. They didn't just want me gone. They needed me gone. Because I wasn't supposed to survive. And now, I was a problem. I turned sharply into an alley, narrow, quiet, empty, a risk, but also an opportunity. Because if they followed me here, there would be no witnesses, no escape, only truth. I walked deeper inside, slowly, listening, waiting. Then, footsteps. Behind me, not one, two. Steady, confident, like they already knew how this would end. I stopped, right in the middle of the alley. Closed my eyes for a second. Just 1 second, then turned around. And there they were, closer now, clear, real, no more distance, no more hiding. One of them smiled, cold, certain. You should have stayed dead, he said. And in that moment, I understood something terrifying. This was never about silence. It was about erasing me completely. You should have stayed dead. The words hit harder than anything else. Not because they scared me, but because of how certain he sounded. Like this was already over. Like I had no chance. I didn't move, didn't step back, didn't show fear. Because fear is what they expect, and I wasn't giving them that. Then you shouldn't have made it so obvious, I said. My voice steady, stronger than I felt. For a second, they hesitated. Just a second. But it was enough. Enough to tell me something important. They didn't expect me to fight back. They expected panic, desperation, begging. But not this. Not calm, not control. The one on the left stepped forward. Slow, careful. You don't understand, he said. I tilted my head slightly. Then explain it, I replied. Silence. They looked at each other. A quick glance. A decision. And that's when I saw it. Not hesitation. Not doubt. Something else. Pressure. Like they were running out of time. You weren't supposed to survive, he said finally. There it was again. That sentence. That confirmation. I took a step forward, closing the distance. Just enough. Why? I asked. Simple. Direct. Dangerous. They didn't answer right away. Because the truth is harder to control than a lie. Then the other one spoke. Lower voice. Colder. Because you saw something you shouldn't have. My mind raced. Messages. Calls. The meeting. That night, what did I see? I asked. But deep down, I already knew. Or at least, I was starting to. They didn't answer. Not with words. Instead, the one closest to me reached into his pocket. Slow, deliberate, and pulled something out. Not a phone, not keys. Something heavier. Something final. My breath slowed. Not faster. Slower. Because now, this wasn't about answers anymore. This was survival. I took one small step back. Measured. Controlled. Watching his hand. Watching his eyes. Because people always look where they're about to act. And he was focused. Locked in. Certain. Just like before. But this time, he made one mistake. He underestimated me. Because while he was focused on ending this, I was already thinking about how to walk away, alive. And that's when everything changed. Fast. Too fast. A sound. Sharp. Loud. But not from him. From somewhere else. Both of them turned. Just for a second. And that second was all I needed. I moved. Not away. Forward. Past them. Out. Running now. No more pretending. No more control. Just survival. Because one thing was clear. They didn't just want me gone. They were desperate to make sure I never came back. And that meant I was closer to the truth than I thought. I didn't stop running. Not when I reached the street. Not when my lungs started burning. Not even when I couldn't hear their footsteps anymore. Because stopping meant thinking. And thinking would slow me down. I turned the corner. Then another. Then another. Random. Messy. Unpredictable. At least, that's what I hoped. Finally, I stopped. Just for a second, leaning against a wall. Breathing hard. Listening. Nothing. No footsteps. No voices. No movement. They weren't behind me. Or they didn't want me to know they were. I forced myself to stand straight. Calm down. Think. Because running blindly wouldn't save me. I needed a plan. I needed answers. And most importantly, I needed to know who I could trust. My phone. I reached for it. Still there. Good. I turned it on. For a second, nothing. Then suddenly, a message. Unknown number. My heart stopped. Not fear, recognition. Because I had seen this before. The same pattern. The same silence. The same warning. The screen lit up. One sentence. Stop running. My fingers tightened. Cold. Because that wasn't a guess. That was observation. They were watching. Still, always. Another message appeared. Faster this time. They're not the only ones looking for you. My breath slowed. Not out of relief, but confusion. If it wasn't them, then who? I looked around, carefully. Every shadow felt alive. Every window, like eyes. Then the third message came. This one different. Short, direct. Turn left. I froze. This wasn't a warning anymore. This was control. Someone was guiding me, or leading me, somewhere I shouldn't go. I hesitated, just for a second, because every instinct told me not to trust it. But then, I heard it, far behind me. Footsteps. Not close, but coming. They found me again. Of course they did. I looked back at the screen. Turn left. No more messages. No explanation. Just that. I made a decision. Not because I trusted it, but because I had no other choice. I turned left. The street was darker, quieter, almost empty. And at the end of it, a car, parked, engine off, door slightly open, waiting. My heart started racing again. Because now, I wasn't just being chased. I was being led, and I didn't know which one was more dangerous. The car was waiting, door slightly open, like it knew I was coming, like it had been expecting me. I stopped, just a few steps away. My heart was racing again, not from running, from the choice. Because this was a decision. Get in or stay out. And either way, something would end. I looked behind me. Nothing. But that meant nothing. They were there. Somewhere, always close, always watching. I looked back at the car. Dark windows. No movement inside. No voice. No signal. Just silence. Then my phone buzzed again. One last message. If you trust them, you die. A pause. Then another message. If you trust me, you live. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was insane. I didn't know who me was. I didn't know who them fully were. And yet, I had to choose. Right now, no time, no second chances. Footsteps again. Closer this time, real. I didn't think anymore. I moved, fast, opened the door, got inside, and slammed it shut. The moment I did, the car locked. Automatically. My breath stopped. Not fear, anticipation. Because now, there was no going back. The engine started. Smooth, controlled, like it had been waiting for that exact moment. I turned my head slowly, toward the driver, and froze. Because sitting there, calm, silent, watching the road, was someone I never expected. Someone I trusted. Someone who was supposed to be mourning me. He, the one from the funeral. The one who looked at the coffin, like he already knew. He didn't look at me. Not immediately, just kept driving, like this was normal, like picking up someone who was supposed to be dead was just another task. You're late, he said finally. My mind went blank. Late? I repeated. He nodded slightly, still not looking at me. They were faster than expected. My chest tightened, because that wasn't a guess, that was involvement. You knew, I said quietly. Not a question, a realization. Now he looked at me, calm, unshaken, and for the first time, I saw it. Not guilt, not fear, something else. Control. I know everything, he said. And in that moment, I understood something terrifying. This wasn't just about someone trying to kill me. This was bigger, much bigger, and I had just stepped right into the center of it. I know everything. His voice was calm, too calm. Like none of this was surprising to him. Like this was expected. I stared at him, trying to read his face, trying to find something. Guilt, fear, anything. But there was nothing. Just control. How long? I asked. My voice quieter now, careful, because I needed answers. And he knew it. He didn't respond immediately, just kept driving, eyes on the road, thinking, or maybe choosing what to tell me. Long enough, he said finally. Not helpful, Not honest, just enough to keep control. You were there? I continued. At the funeral. He nodded slightly. Yes. And you knew I was alive? This time, he looked at me. Direct. No hesitation. Yes. The word hit harder than anything else, because it confirmed everything. You watched them, I said. You saw what they did. A pause. Then, I let it happen. My entire body went cold. Not shock, something worse. Understanding. What? I whispered. He didn't look away. I needed them to believe it worked, he said. Every word precise, controlled, because if they didn't, they would try again. Silence filled the car. Heavy, unavoidable. I tried to process it, tried to understand. You're saying I was bait? He didn't answer right away. That was my answer. Yes, he said. Simple, finale. I laughed. Once, sharp, empty. Good to know, I said. Because anger was starting to rise, slowly, dangerously. You let them think I was dead. Yes. You let them come after me. Yes. You put me in danger. This time, he hesitated. Just a second. Then, I kept you alive. That sentence changed everything. Because suddenly, this wasn't black and white anymore. It wasn't just betrayal or protection. It was both. Why? I asked. This time, not as calm, not as controlled, because I needed the truth, the real one. He took a slow breath, then said something I wasn't ready for, because you weren't the target. Everything inside me stopped. What do you mean? I said. My voice barely there. He tightened his grip on the steering wheel. They weren't trying to kill you, he said. A pause. They were trying to find something. My mind raced. Messages, calls, the meeting. That night, what did they want? I asked. He didn't answer immediately. Then finally, they think you have it. My chest tightened. Have what? He looked at me again. This time, not calm, not fully. Something else was there now. Urgency. They think you saw something that night, he said. And whatever it is, it can destroy them. Silence. Heavy. Real. Because suddenly, this wasn't about surviving anymore. It was about something bigger, something I didn't even understand. And somehow, I was at the center of it. They think you have it. The words stayed in my head, repeating, louder each time. Because the problem was, I didn't. Or at least, I didn't think I did. I don't have anything, I said. My voice firm, certain, but inside, something didn't feel right. Because deep down, I wasn't completely sure. He didn't argue, didn't react, just kept driving. You don't remember, he said quietly. That sentence hit differently, not like an accusation, like a fact. What do you mean? I asked. Now my voice wasn't calm anymore. There was something else in it. Fear, real fear. He glanced at me briefly. You blacked out that night, he said. The meeting. The one you never finished. My mind froze. Because he was right. I remembered going there, sitting down, waiting, seeing someone approach, and then nothing. Just darkness. What happened? I asked. But I already knew the answer. Something bad. Something important. You saw something, he said. Something you weren't supposed to see. My chest tightened again. What? I whispered. This time, he didn't answer. Not immediately, because whatever it was, it mattered. A lot. Instead, he reached over, opened the glove compartment, and took something out. Small, thin, a flash drive. He held it for a second, then placed it in my hand. Cold, heavy, important. You were holding this when they found you, he said. My fingers tightened around it, because suddenly, everything felt real. This wasn't just a story anymore. This was evidence, proof, danger. I've never seen this before, I said. But even as I said it, I wasn't sure anymore, because something inside me reacted, a feeling, familiar, unfinished. You hit it, he said. You didn't trust anyone. A pause. Not even me. That part made my stomach drop, because if that was true, then I knew something. Something big enough to risk everything. Why can't I remember? I asked. Now there was no control, no calm, just questions. He exhaled slowly. Because they made sure you wouldn't, he said. Silence filled the car again. But this time, It wasn't empty. It was full of something else. Truth and fear. Because now, I wasn't just running from them. I was running from something inside my own mind. Something I had seen. Something I had hidden. Something powerful enough to get me killed. I looked down at the flash drive. Small, silent, but somehow it felt like the most dangerous thing in the world. Then we open it, I said. My voice steady again. Stronger, because now there was only one way forward. Find out the truth, no matter what it costs. He nodded once. Not here, he said. We're almost there. I looked up. The road ahead was empty. Dark. Unknown. And for the first time, I realized something terrifying. Wherever we were going would change everything. We're almost there. His voice felt different now. Less controlled. More serious. Like whatever was coming couldn't be undone. The car slowed, then stopped. A quiet place. No people. No lights. Just darkness. And truth waiting. We stepped out. Cold air hit my face. Sharp. Real. He walked ahead. I followed. No questions now, because I already knew the answers were close. Too close. We entered a small building. Abandoned. Empty. Safe. At least, that's what it felt like. He pointed to a table. A laptop already there. Ready. Waiting. Like everything else, I looked at the flash drive in my hand. For a moment, I hesitated. 'Cause once I knew, there was no going back. Do it, he said quietly. So I did. I plugged it in. The screen flickered. Then, files appeared. Videos, documents, names, dates, everything. Too much. Too fast. My hands trembled. Not from fear, from realization. Play it, he said. I clicked the first video. Static. Then, the image cleared. A room. Dark. Familiar. Too familiar, because I was there, sitting at the table. The same night. The meeting. The one I couldn't remember. My breath stopped. Because now, I was watching myself. Alive. Unaware. Listening. Across from me, two men. The same ones. The ones who tried to kill me. But this time, they weren't hiding. They were talking. Open. Confident. Because they thought I was just another person. Just another witness. But I wasn't. I was recording everything. Their voices filled the room. Clear. Undeniable. Illegal deals. Money. Power. Names of people who were never supposed to be exposed. And then, one of them said it. The sentence that changed everything. If she walks out of here, we're finished. Silence. Heavy. Real. Because that's when I understood. They didn't try to kill me. For no reason. They tried to erase me. Because I had proof. Proof that could destroy them. I paused the video, my hand shaking slightly. Then I looked at him. You knew, I said. Not angry, not emotional, just certain. He nodded. Yes. You let it happen. A pause. Then, I needed the truth to come out, he said. I held his gaze. Long, careful. Because now, I finally saw it clearly. This wasn't about saving me. This wasn't about protecting me. This was about control. About using me. Just like they did. Different side. Same game. I looked back at the screen, then at the flash drive. And in that moment, everything became simple. I stood up. Calm. Certain. Picked up the flash drive and unplugged it. What are you doing? He asked. For the first time, there was something in his voice. Concern. I looked at him. Not as someone I trusted. Not as someone who saved me. But as someone who needed something from me. Just like the others. I'm finishing this, I said. Then I walked toward the door. He didn't stop me. Because he couldn't. Because he knew he had no control anymore. Outside, the night felt different. Lighter. Clearer. I never woke up. Because now, I had everything. The truth. The proof. The power. And this time, I wasn't the victim. I wasn't the target. I wasn't the bait. I was the ending. And somewhere, very soon, they would realize one thing. They should have made sure.